I guess it's another junk video because, different things happening, different things on my mind. So, yep. Just first off, I did see a Pyrrho video, where he did seem to make some effort on this idea of creating a co-op, as he calls it. But I think his numbers were sort of garbage. My website videos play fairly well. Not horrible. And, I don't want to get into technical details, but I got 150 gigabyte storage limit, and I've only used 30 in, 3 years or whatever. So, that's sort of bullshit. The sense that he was describing that as a huge limitation. Bandwidth is always going to be a tricky issue. As your video gets popular, it starts to cost money to stream it. That's for sure. And so, you got to pay for that. And it's always going to be the trick of this. Producing on the internet is a little bit inefficient, compared to cable or something else. That's sort of what my brain has always figured, that this should be the breeding ground, and there should be maybe a couple of cable networks that stream, that provide as programming popular internet videos, maybe from YouTube and other places, and that would make sense to have that built into some sort of programming that can be streamed to virtually billions at so much less cost per viewer. But the internet's a little different. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject, really. Technical stuff and whatnot. But the world is just built all wrong. There's just so much waste and redundancy and everything. And it's just so obnoxious to me that we pay, 5 times more for everything because of all the waste and the redundancy. It's just so stupid. But anyway, so let's see, what do I want to get to too? So Loreleila made a video. Yeah, it's still working. Just doing about the whole Fred thing. His account did get suspended deliberately by the Vimeo tube. What are you going to say? This place isn't really built up yet. It's kind of, you can see that if you start using stuff, you start seeing the bugs in it, and they're definitely there. I made a few groups yesterday, and videos weren't showing up in them. They weren't indexing right at all. So, it's got its problems. I read over the terms of service, and it's all kind of vague and mushy. Just everybody be nice, be friendly, have a good time, blah, blah, blah. That's not saying much. I just don't, service providers have been basically granted immunity, not just on copyright, but on other conduct. The legal cases defend the ISP, the service provider, the channel, the domain where people express themselves as being pretty much immune, and the actual person perpetrating the act is the one being held responsible. And that's the goal, and it's to make those people accountable. And so, Vimeo does have a kind of sloppy sign-up thing. They have you sign up and they ask for your name, but they really don't want your name. So, and, if you have a paid account, well, then they have a record of you, a credit card, and maybe you should definitely have different rights in terms of producer when they have your name and address and a credit card, and you are declared the person accountable for what's produced on that account. And in that circumstance, so for people who have plus accounts where they've paid a little extra money, they should be afforded the right to take responsibility for what they produce. And if they violate the law, there's laws to protect against that. There is the DMCA. It sucks. It's a piece of shit, but it's there, and there's a procedure. So if you violate copyright, the copyright holder files his claim, the person acts or they don't act, and there's legal action or not legal action depending on how they act. But it's there. There's a process. Now, on the subject of threats and harassment and hate speech and all this kind of crap, there's also laws about that. And if you're not violating the law, if you're expressing your opinions, they really shouldn't interfere. They shouldn't get into it, so to speak. It's not their business to police, to be the thought police or the speak police. They don't need to do it, is my point. They have no legal obligation to do it, so they shouldn't. And they should just inform people who think they're being abused that, look, you either sue the guy for violating your copyright, you have the DMCA, or you call the police, or you get yourself a lawyer. But that's the system we have. And it shouldn't be, these people shouldn't be doing the censoring. It's like YouTube canning wetland reclamation, for reading Mark Twain. That would be like a library, taking the book off the shelf. It's just not their job. It's accepted literature. It doesn't violate the law. It's just bullshit. And, they have a right to protect children. You have a right to put warnings, labels on things. But this idea that you're going to censor the speech to some arbitrary standard of politeness. Don't call it what it isn't then. It's not my account then. It might as well be your account. And I'm not going to pay you to censor me. I mean, that's kind of silly. I'll pay you if, I won't. I mean, I want my rights. If you can't provide them, then just say you can't provide them. You won't provide them. So anyway, that's sort of a long way around. They could also, if they cared, provide an option to be part of their network in terms of the structure, the interface, the indexes, the groups, all that kind of stuff, and allow people to stream content from other domains, from other servers, not their servers, if they want a greater degree of separation. But I mean, it's just, there's no point in even engaging in unnecessary censorship. I mean, if you have a legal worry that's real, then fine, but they don't. There's no case law anymore to defend this argument, especially a company that's located in New York. And New York is very liberal law in terms of protecting free speech. So it is all kind of bullshit. So anyway, what else? I don't want to get... these subjects all have their own specific circumstances that you don't want to have to re-detail every time you talk about it. So anyway, Fred is negotiating with these guys. And the fact is that he's talking to people, and that matters. But as a model, this place ain't going to work if, you got to have a long conversation with somebody and stroke their anus just right to be able to keep your content up. I mean, they got to have a policy. So, I'm not saying the strike policy is the right policy, but it's got to be a policy, and I think the community standard crap ought to mean something. So when an account is ready to get axed, then there should be a random sampling, let's say, of all members are sent an email that offers them the opportunity to evaluate the content and voice their opinion. And that way the haters and the likers couldn't control the opinion. It would be randomized. And that's an important word, randomize, because it makes sure you understand that it's not really random. It's just eyes. But anyway, so that could exclude all this problem of it being a, just your friend saying it's okay, or just your enemy saying it's not. And let the community make the judgment. Drop the axe. Let them say where the line should be. If you're going to call it community standards, quote unquote, then let the community voice its opinion. At least that's a fair way to, if you're going to axe somebody's account and delete their videos, let it be by the consensus of the community that they don't respect that speech, and they won't respect it. They won't allow it. And then the person can understand what they're up against, in that the majority of people won't even let them utter these words, and that they're afraid of the words even. Yeah. But, I just think that would be a lot better than this arbitrary, whoever you get, Sally Silly person staffing YouTube is going to decide whether she's offended or not. And screw that. She's going to decide whether my 600 videos and all the comments and all the links and all the references should be wiped off the internet. Bull fucking shit. So anyway, this problem with Vimeo does give people cause to say, I guess, go back to YouTube, but I ain't doing that. I'm done with YouTube. YouTube will be a place where I point to video content. And that's it. Maybe, I'll throw a couple of videos here or there, on the different channels, just to keep them alive. But, I'll go to my website, I'll do anything. But yeah, I'm just not gonna get lost in that environment. And I'm gonna keep trying to avoid watching videos on YouTube, being any part of it. And so that's, I am sort of still interested in this idea of, reviewing each other's videos. Like each of us having 5 people that once a week we review what videos they made. And just an explanation, so in case there's some kind of content we'd like to see, we'd be able to see it. I'll go over there. But yeah, I really just don't want to participate in the YouTube mechanism. I want to reduce the amount of time I travel YouTube pages as much as possible. It's the only way to fight back is to close myself off as an audience, and maybe that's to their benefit, because like I said, they have no interest anyway. They are, feeding pop culture and nothing else. And they're the only game in town, so to speak, and they're taking full advantage of that. And, again, the public gets screwed. It's like radio of the old days. Everybody had to copy the successful radio stations, the top 40 crap, and so that's all you got. Was everybody going after the same lowest common denominator mass audience. You have to please the most people to make the most money. And so everybody becomes every store becomes some tacky, shithole, just selling candy bars and lifesavers. Eventually. Because they're just going to keep feeding the audience that feeds them best, that they can exploit easiest, that they can sucker and fool and manipulate with their commercials. My protest, I'm not going to argue that it's terribly effective. It might be totally ineffective, but the reverse of effective. It might be to my own disadvantage, but it doesn't really matter. I just have no taste for playing with this evil corporation, and that's what it is. yeah, I mean, it's just so manipulative, so controlling, and so contemptuous of everything I value. Yeah, fuck that. So, yeah, this got junkier than I thought it would. Didn't really want to just talk about that kind of shit, but that's what I did. Anyway, reduce this arm, perhaps. Anyway, I really have to do this. Get serious about pointing the camera. I've noticed I'm really gotten sloppy about the camera actually being pointed at myself. Yeah, not over there. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, getting cold. First day in 3 months I'm wearing long pants, so it's depressing. Quite thoroughly depressing. But anyway, that's just too bad, right? This is part of the charm, the life-living charms. Yeah, this gets sillier and sillier. The more you think on it, the more you analyze what keeps your legs moving, what keeps you propelled into this slop. You can just see how it's the body, and that's all. We're just made. We're built like little insects. And we just do the thing we've been built to do, which is chase after the agenda, whatever the agenda is in the brain at the moment. Whatever the primary desire is, the prime directive, get. Yeah, get. That's the prime directive for the bad ship human race. Get. Take. Have. Lose. This is stupid. Anyway, until next time and such. So forth and whatnot. No more pool. Oh, got a new cover.